Hey everyone, I'm going to talk about procrastination during OCD and anxiety recovery, all the mistakes that I made. I'm going to talk a lot about personal mistakes in this video, a lot of mistakes I see when I'm coaching people, and why we rely too much on motivation and inspiration, which are very, very fleeting, not just for OCD and anxiety sufferers, but humans in general. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button. The channel is growing. We are almost at 11,000 subscribers. We appreciate each and every one of you. I always go through, I check the comments 2 to 5 times a day. It only takes me like 5-10 minutes. And I go through and I answer. I like engaging with the OCD and anxiety community. It just means a lot. It's fun to talk to people all over the world. And if you're interested in our coaching and webinar services, please email us at info@ocdrecovery.com. So let's jump right into why I think motivation and inspiration don't really do anything. So everyone gets motivated or inspired, whether it's by a story they read or a book they read, something they hear in passing at a coffee shop, whether they go to an in-person seminar. And a lot of people build seminars, in-person seminars, and there's nothing wrong with this because it is an experience. It's probably a lot of fun. But they build it off of primarily motivation and inspiration. And the reason why is because the back end of habits, which comes from discipline, consistency, and being really bored, and the monotony of just over and over and over again, isn't sexy and it doesn't sell well. And since everything is really based around marketing in today's day and age, making it look good and sleek, getting people to kind of be reeled in, and people start to realize that the motivation and inspiration, people who achieve high levels of discipline realize that that doesn't matter at all. They never actually talk about being motivated. If you think about the highest achievers on the planet, men, females, whatever it may be, in a plethora of different professions, when you sit those people down and you ask them, hey, what do you think about motivation? Hey, what do you think about inspiration? The majority of them say, I've heard many of them say, I don't even think about that. I just set goals and I look at what I have to do to achieve those goals. Then I make actionable steps towards achieving those goals and realize I'll probably have to fail, I'll probably have to recalculate, take a new approach many times, be met with many barriers and hardships, but eventually I can push through and hopefully reach my goal. And that's something that I had to cultivate. My wife knows very well that I was someone that was it wasn't unique by any standard. I was really bad at starting things and never finishing them through. I changed my workout program all the time. I would change my macronutrient targets all the time when it came to my body dysmorphia. I would start reading a book, and then I wouldn't finish it, or I would skim read it. And can say confidently today that I am 99% better at that. Now I'm fallible, and there's things that still fall to the side. But overall, my persistency is quite good. And that took me 3 years or so to really develop, with a lot of denial on certain things. Oh, this isn't that big of a deal. And I remember what Jim Rohn said, which I really like. It's so good. He said, all it takes to have your life go the wrong way is a few disciplines that go wrong every single day for 6 years, and they add up and they add up and they add up. So those smaller disciplines that people say don't matter, I do think they matter. They don't matter. Making your bed every morning is not going to change your life. But I do think the balance of having some set structures like that. I'll give you an example. Let's say you never make your bed, you never floss, you haphazardly brush your teeth, you don't really do your dishes. Those things do matter for the average person. They matter a lot. Now, if you're someone that you have a place in your life where you have people doing these things for you, one of my really good friends, he has a nanny because he works in New York City, or he used to work in New York, and he would say, this is very important for me to have a nanny and do this stuff because I just don't really have the time, but I have the extra cash to allocate. That's a different story. But the majority of people going through OCD and anxiety and suffering, starting with the small disciplines, matter a lot. If you're not going to the gym, if you're not eating healthy, those things do matter. They are stepping stones to the larger disciplines. I can say this confidently through personal experience. It was very hard for me to obtain long-lasting discipline because I didn't do the small things correctly at all. And I think this is something that we all fall into to some degree. Now, when it comes to that's motivation and inspiration out of the way. I read a really good study a long time ago by a behavioral psychologist who's talking about the 5 steps of achieving goals or passions. So it was like motivation, inspiration, discipline, the habit, and then passion. And they were saying most people will never actually get to a flow state of passion. They said it's actually quite rare because a lot of it is luck, timing, getting into something. Because a lot of people have great passions, but they don't make any money from it. Someone might have a passion of playing the guitar, but they're not good at playing the guitar, so they're not actually going to make any money off it. That's not mean. That's the reality of life. Most people, the vast majority, if not close to almost all, will never find a passion that provides them sustainable income. And you hear people say, oh, well, don't settle and make your passion into an income. That's not a reality for most people, or everyone would be doing their passions. So it doesn't work like that. So most people are not going to enjoy every aspect of their career, for an example. Now, I love what I do. I am one of those people that fell into something. If you asked me 5 years ago if you thought I'd be coaching with OCD and making OCD content every day, the answer would probably no. I would think you're completely crazy because I didn't have OCD at the time chronically. Trust me, the OCD was building. So, but they were saying that motivation and inspiration are almost meaningless. They're not completely meaningless, but they don't really matter. It's the discipline and the habits that actually change your life, have the potential to change your life. So you have to think about the things in your life that you're not doing. You know, I don't feel like reading the books on the reading list. I don't feel like going to the gym. If you listen to what people are saying, they're saying, I don't feel. Keyword feel. I don't do anything based off feeling. I could be feeling good. I could be feeling inspired. I could be feeling down. I could be feeling tired. I could be feeling a little bit burned out. I could be feeling, a little bit on edge. Sometimes life stuff happens. I'm going to do what I set out to do. Now, I don't have to achieve those things attached to my identity. I always talk about, having a goal with no exposure, with no expectations is a great way to set goals. Because then people think, well, what do you mean, Nick? Why would you have a goal with no expectations? Well, that's where people get into trouble because most people don't achieve their goals, then they crash. If you set goals and you work hard at achieving those goals and then you never reach those goals, you could be disappointed, healthily disappointed, but you're not depressed, angry, resentful. So take a look at the things that you're doing in your life, such as the reading, your nutrition and exercise, brushing your teeth, simply taking a shower, taking care of your hygiene. Are you socializing? Are you doing your schoolwork? Are you going to work? Are you taking care of your children? You don't have to be meticulous and make a list and follow to a T, but there is some merit in making a list so you can see it. I do this when I coach people. I have them write it down. That way, and I don't say, never write the list again, because then you become into the compulsions of writing lists over and over again, which are problems like loop tapes that can be used incorrectly. There is merit to using a loop tape sometimes, but it's not nearly beneficial as we think. But seeing down on paper, the reason why we have people writing on paper, because it gives them, okay, look, these are the things realistically I'm not doing. And there's nothing to really cultivate. You're not waiting for something to fit like a key and lock. Waiting for things to feel right is how nothing gets achieved. I have to do things when I don't want them to. There's another person I listen to. I think he's completely out of his mind. If you guys know who Dan Pena is, P-E-N-A, he's totally out of his, he's bonkers, totally irrational. But he made a really good point in some of his videos talking about, he's a motivational speaker. He said, the reason why I've achieved so much in my life because I'm willing to do the things that you're not willing to do. Now that sounds stupid to some people. They're like, well, obviously, but it's not that obvious because it takes a lot of grit, determination, and hard work to do it. So think about the things that you think you could be doing that would benefit your life. This is how you get along with procrastination. The best way to crush procrastination is day in, day out, consistency, doing things when you least want them to, having some sort of goals. Now, we don't need goals. Not everyone needs to have a goal. I have a couple friends who are free-flowing spirits, as you could say, here in Colorado. They have no active goals, and they live a very, very balanced life. Do I want to live that life? No. Now, do I need goals? No. If something happened and all my goals went to shit, which I do fail a lot of my goals, by the way, especially some of my personal ones when it comes to handling things, especially in my career when things can become frustrating. Sometimes I don't handle them so gracefully because I'm a human, but I'm pretty good at learning from those things. I learn quite quickly. I think if my wife was here, she would say he's much, much better at catching himself if something goes a little bit haywire and redirecting his focus in a positive manner. So thank you so much for watching this video. Remember, all the stuff we see on social media about hype and motivation, inspiration, again, it's not inherently wrong. We're good, but it just doesn't add up to the whole picture. And if you're interested in our coaching and webinar services, please email us at info@ocdrecovery.com and we'll get back to you in a timely fashion. Have a good one, everyone.